Morning, brothers and sisters. This is Bishop Craig Bruschke from the Danville First Ward. Excited to introduce to you Elder Dashiell Minor. Dashiell and his family have been in the First Ward for many years. I was privileged to be Dashiell's seminary teacher for a year. A really impressive young man. There were many mornings where Dashiell would arrive at seminary on time and full of life, with really deep thoughts. A very thoughtful and spiritual young man. Dashiell served a great mission in the Oklahoma mission. We're glad to have him home and look forward to hear his thoughts.
Hello, brothers and sisters. For those who don't know me, my name is Dashiell Minor. For the last 21 months of my life, I have been serving in the Oklahoma City mission. I actually grew up here in the Danville First Ward, and it's been a very near and dear place to me. While in Oklahoma, I was able to serve in several Spanish units, a YSA ward, and an English ward. A little over a week ago, when I first heard that I would soon be going home, I immediately entered into panic mode. Doubts crept into my mind as I started to ask questions like, did I really serve a whole mission? Or even more critically so, did the experience I had on my mission really amount to anything at all? As I opened my journal, I discovered a large expanse of experiences. My mission had contained tons of experiences, many of which I hadn't thought about for a long time. I had only forgotten some of the ways that the Lord had worked in my life. Of course, my experiences on my mission would soon come to an end, but at least I'd given it my all, and I knew that I would be leaving according to the will of the Lord. I knew that as I trusted the Lord in my own life and worked as diligently as possible, I would be able to learn the most from the gospel of Jesus Christ and anything else that I could do. 3 years ago, I heard that a close friend of mine, Ryan Hales, a former member of the Danville Second Ward, before he moved over to Orange County, he was opening up his mission call. When he opened it up, I cringed as I heard where he was going, Oklahoma City. You can imagine my response when I got my call a year later. Elder Ryan Hales has remained a close friend of mine throughout my mission and has been an amazing role model to me when I was a new and struggling missionary. When I received my mission call, it was hard to mask my disappointment. Being called to Oklahoma was a hard calling. Not in the sense that I would be eating snakes, or that I would get mugged, or would even lack clean food and water. None of which actually happened to me. Oklahoma was a hard calling because I would struggle to realize that Oklahoma was where I needed to be. With friends of mine being sent all around the world, to Brazil, to Thailand, to Africa, to the Philippines and Taiwan, it was a hard calling because I recognized the experiences I wouldn't be having. I thought, of all places, why Oklahoma? One particular Sunday, I vividly remember listening to hymn 270, I'll Go Where You Want Me to Go. This song reminded me of my commitment to serve the Lord wherever He needs me, though it may not be on the mountain height, over the stormy sea, or at the battle's front. I may, in fact, be called somewhere more peaceful and calm. The third verse stands out to me. There's surely somewhere a lowly place in earth's harvest field so wide. Kind of sounds like Oklahoma, right? Where I may labor through life's short day for Jesus the crucified. So trusting my all to thy tender care, and knowing thou lovest me, I'll do thy will with a heart sincere. I'll be what you want me to be. One of the biggest obstacles to me in trusting the Lord and His plan was my pride. Thankfully, I found in many circumstances that if I was not willing to humble myself, it was okay, because the Lord would be happy to do it for me. Towards the beginning of my mission, my trainer and I were able to train a new missionary who was a Brazil visa waiter, whose name was Elder Bravo. It was an excellent opportunity for me to pass down some of the wisdom that I had learned when I was being trained and give it to someone else. On one cold and rainy day in the Oklahoma winter, we were on exchanges with a neighboring area with Elder Bravo. When me, him, and another missionary that we were on exchanges with were put together. Having visited and contacted all of the potentials and all the people that were being taught, we were left with the one other thing, which was tracting in that time. We decided that we would knock doors for a while to show Elder Bravo the example and let him try a couple since it was his first time. After having knocked doors for an hour with no success, I was exhausted and ready to turn in. After a minute or so of silence, my young, fresh in the mission companion spoke up and said firmly, "I have been praying. We are going to get into the next house." In a moment of trainer pride, I told him, "Okay, you take the door and show me. You do it then." We knocked on the door, and an older lady came out and asked, "How can I help you?" My young new missionary struggled to find words to say, but eventually was able to start a conversation with her. We had been talking for a while about her life, and all attempts to slowly transition into the gospel were failing. The conversation was coming to a pause when my companion spoke up, and he said, "Can we come on in?" "Of course." We entered into the house, where we became more acquainted with the family and shared the Book of Mormon with them. I was impressed that Elder Bravo showed great faith about getting into a house, and moreover, he manifested it by his works and by his actions. As we left that day, my humble companion needed not to say anything to me, his humbled trainer. The lesson was clear, and once again I marveled at the Lord's hand in missionary work. In the middle of the summer, I was switched out of Spanish work and was put on the campus of Oklahoma State University. Since we were opening the area, we had to start from scratch. For about a month of summer, my companion and I wandered around a mostly deserted OSU, looking to stop anyone who might show the slightest chance of interest in the message that we shared. The week that school, we talked to everyone we could find, but no one was interested in the message that we shared. The week that school started up was a quick change. In the course of a week, we went from never teaching to always teaching. Interestingly, none of the people we found came from direct efforts of ourselves. The people came through means of referrals, or former students that had gone home for the summer, or people who just simply came up to us and were interested in the gospel. For a moment, I was very frustrated. I had worked so hard over the summer and had made a big point about talking to everyone, but had no success. Yet now we were teaching a ton of people, most of whom we didn't find, but were people who actually found us. I was reminded that this wasn't my work, nor my companions'. I learned that this is the Lord's work, and He will reward my work however He wants to. Sometimes my reward would come as a direct manifestation of my efforts, and in other circumstances I would be rewarded indirectly. In the belt buckle of the Bible Belt, I would experience profound Christian hospitality, some Okie talkers, and a couple of Bible bashers. In one particular day of my mission, my companion at the time and I went up to Edmond, where we wanted to scout out how big the Hispanic population was that we could seek out. It was a warm spring day, and we thought it a good opportunity to bike. As we biked through the busy streets of Edmond in that hot weather, we received two very polarized responses. Some people would pull us over to offer water bottles, or others would shout out words of encouragement as they drove by. Others would boo us or scream, "Hail Satan." One that always confused me was when someone would say, "I hate John Smith." I never knew why they hated Pocahontas' husband. This experience proved to be a microcosm for the rest of my mission. As I continued to deal with these polarized reactions, I wondered, how could it be that as missionaries we would be the most loved and the most hated people in the community? Several months later, it came to me that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the picture-perfect example of perfection, the epitome of love and forgiveness, was very much loved and very much hated in His community. I began to feel a connection that as I continued to serve, and in the words of Elder Holland, I was standing with the best life this world has ever known, the only pure and perfect life ever lived. My sister pointed out the witness I would receive on the atonement on my mission. My brother once observed to me that as we grow closer to the Savior and develop some of His attributes, we would begin to feel the same things He felt, the sorrow that came from rejection, the joy that accompanied acceptance, both of which I felt strongly during my time in Oklahoma. One scripture that stands out to me is in 1 Thessalonians 2:8. Paul writes, "So being affectionately desirous of you, we are willing to have imparted unto you not the gospel of God only, but also our own souls, because you were dear to us." I'm grateful for him who provided the perfect example for me. I am grateful for Jesus Christ, who, in the words of Paul, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself, and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. I feel confident to say that I was able to give my soul in these last 21 months. I feel confident, and I know that this church is true, that Joseph Smith restored the original church of Jesus Christ, that the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ, and most importantly of all, that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that through his atoning power, that we can come closer to our families and live with them in perpetual joy for the rest of all time. Yo sé que esas cosas son verdaderas. Estoy agradecido para todas las personas que me ayudó durante mi misión. Y sé que eso es la iglesia verdadera, que el libro de Mormón también testifica de Jesucristo. Y por medio del poder de Jesucristo y su expiación, nosotros podamos superar y vencer cualquier reto que tenemos en nuestras vidas. Oro que cada uno de nosotros podamos crecer y llegar a ser más como Él cada día. Yo digo estas cosas y testifico en el nombre de Jesucristo. Amén.